Hi, here's Julie for another episode. I hope you are doing all well. Today is a beautiful day, nearly the start of winter, very end of autumn. It's crispy cold, the sky is blue, there is the sunshine. My favorite days, always. I love a bit of a crisp. So today I wanted to come to share this message with you. I tuned in the other day on the full moon and journaled and channeled for myself. And I had a bit of an epiphany that night. And it felt quite amazing to have that understanding. So, for some of you, you know that in 2017, I really felt that I was dying. I started to feel honestly horrible with my health, and I seek and search for answer for 3 years, and everyone always told me that I needed a holiday. I seeked homeopath, osteopath, doctor, naturopath, um, energetician. I went to holistic therapy, integrative medicine. I honestly tried everything, and I kept hearing the same things. And yes, I was working hard, very hard. I had a full time business, I had employees, contractors, I was teaching dance, I was dancing, I was the representative of the beautiful skincare world, organic, and sharing my love and passion for them. So, yes, I was working a lot. I was HR, admin, therapist, and I thrive. I thrive in that environment. I was in my element. So to me, it was not work. It was my passion. Anyway, I deeply felt that I would be collapsing, and I have shared that in other episode. I could see myself in the middle of the room, and I remember this perfectly. I was um, doing my massage therapy treatment, and I felt I would just collapse there and die. Anyway, so it's in 2019 that someone confirmed that I was dying, and that if I didn't change my life, that would be the outcome. So I had to. And so in 2019, it's been a drastic change. Everything transformed. From 2018, I could hear that I needed to close my clinic. I just had no idea how. And this message was so strong. And I knew something was coming, but I thought something was coming beautiful for me to save me. And of course, we had, the lockdown and all of that. And that was a lesson for all of us. And every one of us have navigated this time in their own way. And it has highlighted and awakened things within ourselves that we would never have imagined, I suppose, as well. So it was a massive transformation time. And so just before the lockdown, so what happened, I closed my clinic. Someone that I knew, the name got whispered in my ear of who was going to take back my lease, because I just signed a lease of 4 years. And and then I lost my dog at the same time. The day I decided to close my clinic, my dog started to limp. And the 2 weeks I was closing my clinic, my dog passed away as well. So she was declining, and I had to put her down. I mean, we had to put her down. So that was like honestly crazy. And I have shared that before. I probably repeat myself, but I just feel that it's important that I go back to what I'm sharing to share with you what I want to share with you today. And so, just before the lockdown, I got diagnosed with Lyme disease. So, that was the start of having an answer that was really relieving. And at the same time, I felt the ground just collapsed under me, because Lyme disease is so complicated, and to me, understanding the core of why my body let it in is really what I'm have been trying to understand for, well, since 2019. So why I'm sharing this with you is because Uranus has entered my sign of Taurus in 2018. And it was so interesting when I was sitting and channeling and journaling on this full moon. I felt very strongly Uranus, and I never really asked the question. I always saw it on my chart, but always looked at it almost without really understanding it, which is so interesting. I knew it was on the top of my head for a reason in the sky, but I had no really an understanding of why it was there, and I couldn't really connect with it. And that night, I got the message that it was the planet that actually created all that, and really, I want to say, really put me bare. Really, I felt like I lost everything, and I did, and I didn't even know who I was. I remember being on the ground and clapping my head on the ground. I was really there. To me, there's nothing left. I had no idea what my life will look like, how I was going to go out of that. I know that I have that strength, but you have to imagine that when I said I was dying, it's like when I started the treatment, I couldn't even walk. So I could only stand up like 2 seconds, and I just needed to lay down again. So it was again of a time of my life where I felt like I was ripped off of some things. And I remember pulling card and searching for answer. And the only things I can say is that I felt my head was banging on a wall, nonstop, because I couldn't find a sense, but I couldn't accept where I was. I couldn't accept this time of my life. I just couldn't settle. I couldn't surrender to what was happening. And so what I realized that night when I was channeling is that not only Uranus was there to, yes, really break through me of all my securities, and for a Taurus, securities is the most important things, is the foundation, is what is essential. Doesn't matter where it comes from. When you rip the Taurus from a security, it just lose it. And that's what I felt. I felt I lost it. I lost it. And not only I was in excruciating pain, I couldn't think. I couldn't stand up. My whole being was uncontrollable. Light would bring me into um, massive panic attack. I was not in control of my nervous system. I will shake. My heartbeat will go into racing. I would have palpitation. I would have nausea. Anyway, I I was really in a state that I wish no one to be in, and know that I have been there. I have been, my journey is quite interesting, has been really based on suffering, and like I have shared with you, and a lot of really physical suffering. So I would say it's very rare for me if I look at my life that one day I have been without pain, physical pain, and I never knew where it was coming from, but actually it was Lyme. I always thought, oh, it's because I'm dancing, because I have been dancing all my life. And then I started to massage. And of course, massage is, very physical on the body, but it was nothing of that. It was actually a pain in my body. And so the word, torture has been a massive one in my life. And I have had to work through this because a lot of past life have been about torture for who I was, for what I say, so for what I believe, for what I did. And I have seen those life, and I know that, the pain in my body, like for example, when I broke, I had a stress fracture, like I have shared with you, of my head femoral, and all the ligament of that leg were ripped. I saw that past life. I was dismantled. My arm and my leg were dismantled because of the capacity I had to heal, in a past life. And I can see, even as I'm sharing this with you, I see the whole moment, I see where it has happened. And so my body remembered because that past life was not healed, it was not, it needed to come in this life to teach me in a certain way. And it's been it's been many, many of past life that have showed up in my body on the top of Lyme, which is also one that I'm not going to share now because I'm still trying to articulate it. So in my book is one of the story I haven't been able to yet lay on the paper because it's intrinsic with so many components that I feel like I haven't been able yet to lay it on paper, but it's brewing into me because it's very important, but it's so controversial. And I know that it might erase quite a lot in some people, me talking about that. So I just have to feel the word flowing and it will come. I know it will come. And I really am eager to share this because it's, again, my whole healing journey from when I was very, very young. Um, it's all linked, and I always say to you when you come in a consultation, everything is linked. It's nothing is coming to you by chance. Every element that are coming to you that is emotional, physical, intellectual, um, experimental, everything is linked to one another. And so it's all the sign and message we need to receive to really understand the big picture of, I want to say, I don't know why I want to say, our legacy, because I think really what we are here to do is to really understand who we are and what we have experienced and why we are the way we are. And I think some of us, they have that really strong core within themselves to actually dig in. I'm a digger. I need to dig. I need to dig in people. I need to dig in me. I need to understand the core, the root, the ins and out of everything. It's so important to me. So why I'm saying that is because Uranus only break through me since 2018, but it also actually made me really walk the path of self acceptance. And like I said to you, when I entered the space of having to close my clinic, losing my dog, losing Michael's dad, my partner dad, not being able to dance, not being able to move my body, not even walking or standing up, it really constricted me. It really put me in a space that the only things that could save me is surrender and patience. And today is interesting because I was talking about the law of rhythm. And it's quite interesting because if you look all around you, you can see the rhythm of life. You can see the night, the day, you can see the season, you can see the caterpillar to butterfly transformation. You can see the rain, the sun, the wind. You can see all the element. You can see the rhythm of life, like the flowers, like from the seed to the flowers. And if you look through this rhythm, you can see that there is nothing you can change. You can actually force a flower to grow. You cannot force a season to accelerate. And my question was, and my realization was, well, as a human being, we are fundamentally based on nature itself. Only society have made us forget that we actually are connected in all sense to that fundamental understanding of life. We are life itself. So why are we unable to follow the rhythm of our being? because we all, each of us, have a different rhythm. But somehow we bypass that. And honestly, if I look at the time I was dying, I was living on adrenaline. I am pretty sure I was living on adrenaline. There was absolutely nothing left in me. And that's why people keep telling me that I needed a holiday, because everyone thought I was burnt out. And of course, I was burnt out, but not because of a burnout, because I was dying. And so, of course, it's kind of like a vicious cycle, because, you work hard, you are stressed. And then, if there is like an element of weakness within yourself, of course, it will be highlighted. So, it's like this expression that I never understood before. It's the egg of or the chicken, first the egg or the chicken. And so it's the same with that, the illness, the burnout, um, the time of, being close to actually passing away. And even saying that, sometimes I don't realize that, although I felt it in me, I'm like, yes, it was that. And I take it such with a grain of salt, like I don't put much emotion into it. I think I really had to actually elevate myself and push myself out of that. I really had to really find my strengths, and I had to um, work through the fear. And how much fear there is in me, it's crazy. Like, and all those fears again are based on everything that I have experienced in other lives. So when Uranus show itself on the full moon night, I felt not only that it destroyed a part of me, but here it was here to lift me. And then I was like, oh, but why now? And then I realized that actually it is going to retrograde in the sign of Gemini on the 7th of July, to then return again to my sign a couple of months later until April 26th, 2026. And so, and then it's going to be gone out. And its cycle is 84 years. And it's really interesting because it made me really tearful at that moment. Because I realized that Uranus and its lesson, it was really the only time I will have experience is wisdom. I will never in a lifetime experience that again. And I don't know why. It made me really looked at all of this, and it really clicked. Something's clicked in me and made me realize that all of that was for a reason. And I knew that already, but self-acceptance. Self-acceptance has been a big one. And self-acceptance is not only of myself, but how my life unfold. And that actually I don't really have the control of that apart from the way I'm reacting about my life and about how everything unfold. And I can either hide, trust, or give up. And at that time, I felt really uplifted. I felt like something in me reopened my heart. I felt that my heart reopened in a sense that I have so much in me. I have so much passion for what I do. I have so much that I want to share. And again, it was like it doesn't matter where it goes. It's just the importance of just showing up for yourself, for what you feel deeply within you. And when there is this moment of quiet because of the season, of the rhythm, the law of rhythm, then just go with the flow. And that's been a very, very big one, finding finding acceptance in all the feelings, in the fear, understanding where the fear come from, understanding who I am, and again, an ever-changing being, like the season, but on its own rhythm, and that there is absolutely nothing to force or to try to be, because everything is already here right now. And I know I often repeat that, and maybe what I'm sharing today has similarity to this message I have shared before. And why is that? Is because I think we come back to always to the same conclusion, to the conclusion that we live in a system that is out of nature with who we are as human. And so there is so much duality and contradiction in the way we are trying to live and the way actually our being is meant to live. And so I think what we are all in search is of this rhythm within ourselves. And when we see someone outside of us nailing this rhythm or thinking that they are, or that there is a glimpse of this energy, then it gives us the energy to keep going. But also, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I feel there is this need of being inspired. And I think when we can be inspired by ourselves, by our own magic, that's where I think the energy, the motivation come back to actually show up for ourselves. And that everything that we actually emanate from our being, it's being inspired by some things around us. Maybe it's a word, maybe it's a remembrance, maybe it's just the connection we have with some things that is deeply connected with our being. Maybe it's a song, I don't know, but it's some things that make you remember that this is fundamental, that nature is you and that you are nature. And therefore, there is respect to follow in that space. And it doesn't mean, again, you're not moving, but when you feel that the energy you are in is needing rest, instead of fighting the rest, fighting the quiet, the silence, then you allow yourself to go there. You allow that season to take place. And those seasons doesn't specially go with the season of winter, summer, spring, or autumn. Because for me, I find that winter, I thrive in winter. I am a winter person. I just love the crisp, the sun, and I see it as sunny all the time. Some people will say, oh, it rains all the winter. And I never see that. So it's very interesting. It's all about perspective. So you will know when you thrive. You will feel that within yourself. And I think it's to really tune into that space and allow yourself this time of being completely break down or break down, yes, break down, and then let yourself, be opened, raw, vulnerable, with all the sense that are coming to you, to then transform and then rebuild, to break through that moment. Anyway, I feel this message is probably similar to some of the message I have shared before, but I felt it was there. And so that's what I learned with Uranus. And I felt that it was quite interesting that it was coming to show itself at this time when it's nearly the end of its cycle, and that I always saw it there in my chart and never realized what the meaning of his presence was. And now I really learned his wisdom, and I'm very grateful for it, even though I went through. I know some of you will find this word crazy, but purgatory is what I felt. I wanted to say I went to hell, but then the word purgatory came here in front of me, and it felt right. So, yes, so I hope this is bringing you a sense of hope, a sense of mm, trust in actually everything unfolding on its own time, and that you absolutely do not need to have anything figured out, because life will show you the way, life will surprise you. And again, if we knew everything, it will not even be fun. So you know, let's get ourselves be transformed and evolve into the being that we need to be, and enjoy who we are in the meantime while we walk that journey. I'm sending you so, so, so much love again. And if you enjoy this message, and if you have any topics you would like to hear about, if you have any question, ask me, send your topics. I would love to talk about what you are interested about as well, and get my mind to work, or my heart to work, or my soul to work into what you are interested in. All right, I'm sending you lots of love and wishing you a beautiful day or night wherever you are in this world. Thank you again for listening until the end. Bye.